I'm Elisa Welsh, and I'm an experience designer on Adobe Fresco.
And my name is Brooke Hopper, Principal Designer for Drawing and Painting at Adobe. We're excited to share with you some of our favorite features that came to Fresco in 2021. Adding motion to your work can be intimidating. That's why, with the new motion feature in Fresco, we've rethought animation to make it as easy as drawing and painting. Turn on the motion feature by tapping the play icon in the bottom right bar. There are two ways to add motion to your work: frame by frame and motion paths. You can even combine the two to make a frame-by-frame motion path. To create a motion path, simply tap the path icon in the bottom bar and draw. Path effects will open, and here you can add multiples, you can add scattering, adjust the amount of frames that the path covers, and many other options. Tap Settings to adjust things like number of frames per second, playback options, and onion skinning. You can also adjust the number of frames before and after the current layer, as well as the opacity. Because each layer has its own timeline, each layer can have a different number of frames. Turn on the document timeline to see how the entire motion piece will look in context. And when you're done, tap play to watch your illustration come to life. Export options include MP4, GIF, and a PNG sequence. We can't wait to see what you create.
I have this piece done by Apachart Misri open on my iPad, and I'm going to make some edits. First, I'll open up the precision panel to turn on perspective grids. I can now scrub with my finger on the zoom percentage in the top to adjust my zoom level, and I can go in and edit my vanishing points and horizon line if needed, as well as the density and opacity of my grid. Now I'll add some brush strokes. So I've got my mixer brush chosen, and I'll use the handy touch shortcut here to sample multiple colors at once. All I have to do is hold down on the touch shortcut with one hand and long press on the canvas with the other to sample the colors. Now that I've got a multicolor swatch, I can start painting. So I'll start adding some subtle brush strokes to the piece, and the perspective grid is really helping me to keep my strokes aligned to the perspective of the piece. If I wanted to, I can turn off snap to grid for drawing, which allows me to freehand draw without being in perspective, but still seeing the grids. Now, I'd like to get some feedback on the changes that I've made. I tap on the comment button in the taskbar and ask for some feedback, and then I share a link with my stakeholders to see what they think. We've added the ability to view different versions of your work, so I'm going to tap on View Version History here. Now I can see all of the stages of changes that I've made, and if I want, I can revert to an earlier version, so the work is just never lost. Now I can open it up and see the original version of the document without any of the additional brushstrokes that I've added.
We recognize that artists have different ways of drawing. Some artists have a light touch, and some have a more heavy touch. That's why we've added Stylus Pressure. To adjust your Stylus Pressure, simply tap the brush settings in the tool options and tap Stylus Pressure. Here, you can adjust the sliders between light and heavy, or you can adjust the curve and test it out to make sure it works for you. We've made it even easier to add more brushes to Fresco. Tap the plus button at the bottom of the brush menu and discover more brushes. Here, you can access all of Kyle Webster's amazing brushes. Now you can manage your brushes in Fresco, turning them on and off so you can see just the ones that you want to use. To manage your brushes, tap the More menu in the brush panel at the very top. This will open an option for you to turn on and off categories of brushes, or if you tap inside of the category, you can turn specific brushes on and off. We even have the option to quickly hide or show all of your brushes. And now you can work even more quickly with the brushes you love.
I've got this awesome piece by Eva Redimonti open on Fresco on the iPhone. First, I'm going to show you our new vector jitter brushes. So I'm going to sample this color with a long press on the screen, open up my vector brush panel, and choose the light jitter brush. You see, we've added several of these brushes with different types of jitter, and you can see the difference between the light, medium, and heavy jitter brushes here. So now I'm going to start drawing this shape with the light jitter brush. And then I'm going to fill it, and then we've also added vector masks. So once I add a vector mask, I can now draw inside the shape with a different jitter brush and not have to worry about being perfect with lining up the edges. And if I open up the brush settings, I can change the size and shape of the jitter and test it out at the top of the panel here. Now I'm going to add some text to this piece by using the type tool in the toolbar. I can go in, edit the text. I can choose from a variety of different fonts. I can also adjust the properties, spacing, size, etc., and then place it exactly where I want it. I'm going to add some final elements using Adobe Illustrator on my desktop. I'll tap on Share, Send to Illustrator, and the file automatically opens up for me to finish it off.
We know everyone works differently. That's why personalization in Fresco is so important. To personalize Fresco, tap the gear icon in the top bar and then App Settings. Here you have multiple options. You can change your toolbar to be on the right or the left. You can change your appearance to be light or dark. You can adjust your quick export settings in case you always have a specific format that you want to export from. We've made it easy for you to adjust the quality of your time lapse. Moving down to your input settings, if you're working on an iPad, you can adjust what the double tap on the Apple Pencil 2 will do for you. You can set your finger settings. I personally like gestures only, and you can also adjust the duration of the long press for eyedropper gesture. Turning on Snapline will allow you to draw and hold to create straight lines really quickly. And if you work best with your brush preview on, you can do that too. The help section is all about looking at tutorials, resetting content, and even sharing with us the features that you want to see in Fresco. And finally, the experimental section will show you all of the features that aren't quite ready for the public, but you can turn them on to try it out. With Windows 11 and the new Slim Pen 2, you have access to tactile signals or haptics in Fresco. When using the brushes or adjusting settings, you'll get small vibrations that emulate the feeling of drawing on traditional media.